Welcome back to Mayo Clinic Radio. I'm Dr. Tom Shives.
And I'm Tracy McCrae. Oh, how we love our canine companions.
You do?
Well, I don't have one, but everybody else does. Everyone around me does.
Yeah.
According to the American Veterinary Association, more than 40 million American households have dogs, and 63% of those consider their pets to be family. But should you let your four-legged friend sleep in the same room as you or in the same bed?
Well, I tell you, a recent Mayo Clinic study looked at the effect that dogs have on the home sleep environment. Now, if you've got a dog, and especially if he or she is sleeping with you, it's information you may or you may not want to hear.
Joining us on the phone from Mayo Clinic in Arizona is one of the authors of the study, sleep medicine specialist, Dr. Lois Krahn. Welcome to the program, Dr. Krahn. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Dr. Krahn, welcome to the program. Well, give us the news. Good idea to have your dog in bed with you or no?
Well, having the dog in bed proves problematic.
Uh-oh.
But having the dog in the bedroom doesn't appear to change a person's sleep. So I think that there is good news and bad news depending on your view of this.
So is this a pretty common practice for people to actually have their dog in bed with them?
I think it is. One thing that we didn't look at in this study, but others have sort of pondered, is what kind of people will have their dog very close by at night, and people who, let's say, have a partner who's on the road, who's out of the house. Someone who is single may be more inclined to say, I've got room in the bed and I will have my dog there.
So how was this study conducted? I mean, did you have people bring their dogs to the hospital, to the sleep lab, or how did you determine this?
Well, we used mobile technology. So for years we've had a device in sleep medicine where a person wears a motion detector, and this is a medical grade device that is an established and accepted tool. However, we learned that there is a similar motion detector that a dog can wear on its collar. Uses the same technology, so we then could monitor both the person and the dog and compare the results.
And so when you're saying that it affects sleep, the dog is moving around and then that makes the person, the human, either wake up or it just affects their sleep. It wakes them up a little bit?
So we could look at the movement, and we could see sometimes, who moved first, the person or the dog, when the dog was on the bed, and sort of, have a sense of who was disturbing the other. And it did appear that, at the beginning and end of the night, the people tended to go to bed second, and the dog stopped moving first. But during the night, if the dog was on the bed, the dog would move, and then the person would move.
Did it make any difference with regard to the size of the dog?
Well, I wish we'd had a large enough group. We had dogs of different sizes, and, I think it's pretty common sense. A big dog in a small bed is going to be more problem, but we couldn't actually correlate that with the 40 participants in this study.
Let's back it up even further. Maybe people who are bad or poor sleepers are dog owners. Is that a fact?
No,
Could that
is
be?
that a correlation that we can make based on your study?
There are many possibilities. There are people who say that they want a dog for security purposes and that they feel more comfortable when a dog is guarding them. That, going back centuries, that's one reason why, people, chose to have dogs for that function.
Dr. Shives and I are both farm kids, or at least from rural settings. And so the fact of having a dog in the house is almost insane in my estimation. But it feels like it has definitely changed over the decades, that now being a pet owner, especially a dog owner, and the dogs are almost starting to behave like people in some instances.
Well, and I think part of this might be the urbanization. If somebody lives in a city, for example, New York City, they may not even have a backyard. So the dog is going to be in their apartment, and then when the dog goes out, it's on a leash going for a walk. That apartment may be very small, so there may not be many options for where a dog would sleep in a situation like that.
So what you found was that there's no question in your mind that a dog interferes with a person's sleep.
If the dog is on the bed, and if the dog is off the bed, then there does not seem to be a major impact. Now, I'm sure a young puppy or an aging dog with health issues, there would be exceptions to that, but the average dog, like the ones we had in our study, seemed to sleep well, and the people slept well when the dog was in the bedroom, but not on the bed.
Did you find any dogs that snored or had sleep apnea?
Not in this study, we didn't, but previous reports are, and we do know that dogs who have very sort of flat faces, like bulldogs, are known to have sleep apnea, and sometimes have been used to help us understand the sleep apnea that people have by just studying how it affects dogs.
Would there be a situation where? Because I'm just imagining all my friends who are dog owners hearing this and going, "Oh, not at my house." So this is on average. It's fair to say that if you sleep with a dog on your bed, you're not getting as good a night's sleep. But are there some people who were getting better sleep when their dog was with them?
Yes, I think there are, always a range of experiences. And if it's a well-behaved dog who really has been trained to sleep, let's say, at the foot of the bed is large, there's plenty of space, the person doesn't have any allergies, the dog is well bathed and doesn't track in dirt. There are lots of factors that come into play with having a dog nearby. But if none of those apply, then maybe this can work. But I would just say be careful to think it through and don't just assume that this is a good idea.
What are your recommendations then for having dogs in the bedroom or on the bed?
Well, I think having a dog on the bed is a bit too much. But having a well-behaved dog who has been taught that when the lights go out, it's time to be quiet and lie still, perhaps have a dog bed that it can curl up on, and that's its spot. I'm not sure that represents the problem that we had previously thought it was. But being on the bed, that's a little too much.
Maybe next one that study, Dr. Krahn, is that you could compare sleeping with your dog in the bed versus sleeping with a spouse that snores.
No, well, I'll let someone else do that line of research.
Very wise. Now, somebody is going to have to be the one who breaks this to the dogs, and I don't know who that's going to be.
Not going to be us. They better. Hopefully, they're not listening this week. All right, sleep specialist Dr. Lois Krahn. She's with us from the Mayo Clinic in Arizona. Thanks so much. Great study. Good to talk to you. Thanks for sharing all the information.